What is up, speedsters? Welcome to a brand new Flash breakdown and review. This is for episode 12, I believe, of season 7, and this is Carlos Valdez, or should I say Cisco Ramon's farewell episode. I apologize to those who particularly care more than others about my reviews for the Flash, because now on Wednesdays I have 3 videos I want to do. There's Loki, obviously I want to get to that is not as quick as I can, but prioritize it because I want to get more into Marvel things, and then obviously Superman and Lois is much more of a priority than The Flash because of how great that is and how it's just the best CW show at the minute. But you know, I'm not forgetting about The Flash, obviously not, and don't be disillusioned if that's the right word to use. I've got people saying, but I thought you hate The Flash. I don't hate The Flash. Can I get one thing clear, please? Like, seriously, if you're a fan and you enjoy this, good for you. Seriously, I don't mean that in a patronizing way. Good for you. I'm happy for you. It's just that don't think at the same time that when somebody in a review video offers constructive criticism or any kind of critique, that it's hating on the show. That just sounds so dumb to me. It's just like, it's a review. I love what The Flash was, just not what it currently is right now. And what I will say is that to premise this review is I understand what they were going for in this episode with the tone and the humor and all of that. I even laughed and enjoyed certain parts. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to come across like I'm contradicting myself or a hypocrite. Of course, when I see Grant Gustin and Carlos acting like clowns, it's going to make me smile. But that doesn't mean that's like what I want to subscribe to on The Flash in terms of overall approach, which is what seems to have happened even more so that when Eric Wallace has stepped on board. I believe Todd Helbing, it did kind of go that way, especially with the tonal shift after season 3 into season 4 of The Thinker. That's when more quirky stuff really did happen. And I'm not under any illusions that this doesn't even happen in the comics. Illusion seems to be a word of today's video. I know the comics are lighthearted as well, quite through and through. But The Flash, you know, it has changed. And I think that's the big thing as to what people are struggling to stay subscribed to, because you have the infancy of the seasons, which had a fine balance. That's the big thing here. And I know this is like a overall review almost kind of thing, but I guess it is leading somewhere into this episode, because this episode obviously personifies, and this is what I think I said on Twitter. Definitely follow me just for fleeting thoughts even before these videos go up, by the way. It personifies where we're at with The Flash right now. Like, this episode is what The Flash is. Now, I'm not trying to over-exaggerate there. I know every single episode doesn't have Barry breakdancing, but you get what I mean there. Like, you're not stupid. You know what I mean? And I think that is kind of it, isn't it? Some people are more okay with that than others, but just some aren't. And it's quite an interesting thing to watch unfold, because I've been through it. I've seen your guys' comments as well. The fact is, as to why we're still watching is, A, because I'm a big fan of The Flash and the cast, and I want to see where it goes. The Godspeed storyline, that should be self-explanatory as to why I'm still covering this. Plus, you know, I've been here with the show where it was. Like, I love the cast. I love the flavor the show has had before. It's just, yeah, this is where we're at now. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to repeat myself too much there, but I just felt like it was important to premise this review. By the way, in terms of my reviews, I will try my best to get them up on Wednesday, but I don't have an editor, so it's like I do these videos for myself, by myself, and, you know, some of them, you know what I'm like, I talk for a long time. 35-minute face cam videos, they take a long time to cut down, get pictures and stuff. So Superman, Lois, Loki, and The Flash, I'm thinking I might bench Flash until Thursdays if I can't get them up on Wednesdays. So just want to let you all know that if that gets me less views because I'm not so fast with it, I really don't care anymore, because it's like not a show that I'm passionate about right now, but I still do want to cover it, which is why if that happens, that happens, and it can just be more of a bonus video on the channel, which is, I guess, today's experiment, because this is going up, 2 days after it aired. So anyway, moving onwards. So here we had the start of the episode with, you know, the announcement of Camilla and Cisco saying we're leaving Central City tomorrow, and I thought this was a bit quick, but then they followed up with the reasoning for that, because it was a reassignment. Lila and Diggle gave him a great recommendation, and Argus kind of need that role filled like yesterday. So it was quite quick, but this kind of led to this is what I think some people are having problems with the episode, and this is going to recur a few times, I think, throughout this video. I think, and I do agree with some people, there was a bit of forced drama in this episode with Cisco feeling the way he does, with, oh, you don't care about me kind of thing, and I just feel like, you could have, and don't get me wrong as well, there was bittersweet moments at the end and fleeting throughout the episode, but mainly at the end, obviously. And there was cool moments that I liked as well. I do want to get that across. However, overall, I think the overall vibe, no pun intended there, is that people wanted, they could have done this quite differently. Instead of, I guess, going ham, as I've said, this is what The Flash is now. And I know maybe Carlos obviously had a lot of creative input into this. And this is what I mean, I get what they were going for. It's just that it's a sign of the times. That is what I need to solidify. This is a sign of the times, and I think if this was done in Season 2, I know this is really random, because it's like, why would Cisco leave in Season 2? And I guess it wouldn't be as feelsy because he hasn't been there so long, but just stay with me here, like, for argument's sake. It would have been approached a lot differently. I feel like that this episode would have been done, sure, maybe with a Metro of the Week, but it would have been like maybe a much more grueling story, a bit of like maybe stakes, maybe like Cisco in the blimp again, there's a risk of him dying, but without so much funny moments. I feel like, you know, I'm not saying it needs to go into Flash time levels of dramatic acting, which I do love, like I'm a sucker for stuff like that, but I feel like that tone would have suited a member who's been on the show leaving after 7 years a lot more than, yeah, I mean, it works both ways. I do see how this works. It's just, I think what I'm trying to articulate here is that the audience, the majority, at least I think a big majority, at least from what I'm seeing, everywhere. Not everywhere, because I know there's a lot of you who do enjoy it and think I'm just a party pooper, and some other people are, but it's not what we fell in. I think what the creative people need to know is, what were you doing when people fell in love with the show? Oh, that's Season 1, that's Season 2, and obviously there's the third season, debatable, but like there was a clear kind of tone there. Obviously Season 3 went quite a bit darker, but think about it. When you change and completely take that away from the infancy years, which is when people subscribed to your program, obviously people are going to be a bit blindsided by that, especially when Eric Wallace comes in now, and I really liked what he did with Bloodwork, but ever since then, it's like, let's double down on absolutely everything that is goofy. Do you know what I mean there? And this is what I mean with this review. It's just like the way you even go through these bullet points of like, oh, you know, everyone acting overly positive, and that's what made Carlos, or should I say Cisco, feel insecure and whatnot. There's this one point where Cisco legit actually gets mad, like, why don't I just show up to work a day early, like maybe I should just go and do that. It's just like, you could have made a really good story this episode with some actual real bittersweet moments throughout, instead of this fake drama and then that goodbye thing. I think that's, I know I've already said that, but that would have been suited so much more. And after this, they reconcile, and then like there's even more just, it's really hard for me to believe this, because it's like, maybe we should say goodbye now and get it over with. And I just felt like, are we effing serious right now? He's like, you don't want to get rid of me? Now look, don't get me wrong, I know humans can feel insecure whether you're a kid or an adult, but like this, I just don't believe. Like, do you know what I mean? Does he have the intelligence of a 5-year-old to speculate about that with his friends? Like, do you know what I'm trying to say there? It just didn't feel believable, and I think I completely agree, seeing the comments everywhere before I even got to review this saying the forced drama is just a bit, like, transparent. I would have much preferred a no drama, and yes, I'm repeating myself once more, I can just see the vision so clearly though. No drama, do like the Metro of the Week, make it really cool, have the Cisco heroic moment, and just make it like a serious Flash time. And then like when it does come to the moment of him leaving, it's like really, really sad. I don't know, this episode is the sign of the times. There are moments that I liked, obviously. It's a conflicting thing for me. I like this show, but I don't, as I always say, like it right now with the approach. So Cisco obviously showing Chester the ropes, the speed treadmill, the original Flash helmet. We had some of the best speeds come out, the Savitar cannon thing. I enjoyed this moment because guess what? I've said it once and I'll say it again. I like Chester. I really do. And that may sound funny to some of you because he's goofy. And he was quite goofy when he came in. But you know, I've loved this show in its infancy seasons, and that contained Cisco being goofy. That was fine. This is why I want you guys to be aware of when you're thinking, why is Boba like contradicting himself? It's not that. It had a fine balance back then. You had one or two characters, but now, instead of one or two characters, you know, the Cisco and Wells dynamic being that every now and again, and then you had the other parts of the show, which was a bit more serious, a bit more, like the pacing was so much better back then, Jesus. Now it's just everything is like almost a bit of a joke, do you know what I mean? Like even when Barrett, there was this moment in the episode, this was even before they got infected by the Rainbow Raider 2.0's powers, where like Cisco and Mecha Vibe showed up, and she's like, nice leotard, whatever. I couldn't believe that comment would have been made in the earlier seasons, I suppose, but it's just like, you know, Barry's like, thank you, and it's just like, this wasn't the show back then. It just wasn't, and this is what I mean, this is outside when they were even infected. It's just, this is a good way to put it. I'm going to put it right here for some of you. I think what really it comes down to at the end of the day is a lot of people's issues are with this is that, oh well, many people may enjoy this, many also do not. And once again, I'm going to repeat myself and say, because it does indeed personify what The Flash is today, whereas before, well, let me just show you what this show's vibe was to what it is now, and why so many people enjoyed and were engaged in that a lot more compared to the very few and far. Like, I'm not negating, we do get the edgy moments every now and again, and this is where some people misconstrue what I want. I'm not after Titan's edginess every effing episode. I'm not. Don't misconstrue what I'm saying. But look at this, and then look at this.
Look at your hero. This man is no god. He is nothing. The days of the Flash protecting this city.
You okay?
Did you stop the bad lady?
Nope.
I didn't want to.
So yeah, I think you can understand why, as I said earlier, when you have people fall in love with a show and then you completely change up tones. It's like if you have a friend and they start off one way and then they completely become a different person who you can't vibe with anymore because they're very different. It's such a simple thing to understand. So I don't get why some people don't understand why that is pushing away your audience. Do you know what I mean? And that's it, really. That really is. You know, I get, and I've said, I get what they were going for. I get this was meant to be a deliberately over-the-top episode, even though I feel like a lot of episodes, even without the over-top aspect as far as this episode went, have only a notch or two lower than this. Seriously, maintained in every single episode, or at least most of them, of Season 7. You know, all that waffle talk made me hungry. And I know he was infected with the dopamine enhancer, serotonin enhancer, but like, you know, look, you can say just enjoy it for what it is, or you know, and I get that, I get it, but what those people don't understand is why people like me and many other audience members, whilst I could just smile and enjoy it, I get what you're saying there, but like, this wasn't the show we fell in love with. It may have the same cast, which is why I think a lot of us were in denial, and now we're coming out of it a bit, and now here we are seeing it for what it really is. But it speaks for itself. Like, the clips I showed speak for itself. You know, and it's just a shame, because I don't want to talk like this on the episode that Carlos Valdez leaves. And don't get me wrong as well, the ending scene, when we got the flashbacks, that was feelsy. It was. But I at the same time, it wasn't as feelsy as it could have been, because I feel like if it was more of a... As I said, doesn't have to be quite on that end to Flash time. I'm not saying the episode was great. I'm just saying, like, the vibes of that. If it was more on that kind of level, and then, like, you had them get through that grueling moment where Cisco saved the day by himself. Because I really like that blimp part. Because it's like, at least he went out doing something that could have almost killed him. But he got that adrenaline rush from, it's like, yeah, man, that was a badass moment. But then you just get that. And I get it. It's like a Cisco kind of quote. But when Caitlyn does it, it wasn't natural. It's like, and no, you're da bomb. I don't feel like I even need to talk about Barry breakdancing, and this is what I mean. Yeah, I can laugh at it, but like, it's not what I want to see. at the end of the day. Like this, I would have chosen a completely different tone and script for this episode, which would have been so much more impactful. Do you know what I mean? Like it would have been really feelsy, really good moments still. Like, as I said, like this episode did have a couple of good moments, but the direction overall I completely disagree with as a fan of someone who liked the direction of the first 2 or 3 seasons. As much as I like Chester, it's going to be sad to see you go, Carlos, on the show. You were great. I'm not saying, it's weird. I don't expect him to watch this. I like Chester as a replacement. It's just, you know, now that Tom Cavanaugh's gone, now that Carlos is gone, Allegra, God, miles better than Camilla, but so Barry and Iris, and it's like, what have we got left, really, especially with this massive change? And yeah, I know we've got some interesting things to come. Please be good, Godspeed. But think about it. I'm not trying to shite on anyone's hopes, but the same writers and showrunner who gave us this first graphic novel of this season will be giving us the Godspeed thing. So I still feel like it's possible that's going to have the same approach that a lot of us don't subscribe to currently. And I hope they reevaluate that for season 8. One thing that obviously came out recently is Reverse Flash. And this is something we've known for a while. Tom Cavanaugh teased that when it comes to ending the show, it seems like it's silly to not basically do the Reverse Flash tying off the show and finally completing that story for Barry. And Grant Gustin has said that and putting a ribbon in that storyline before. This was like a year or two ago. So this is what I mean. I'm hoping that still in the future, when it comes to that kind of storyline, I feel like it would be weird to do the tone of season 7 with that. But Jesus Christ, like if Eric Wallace does do that, I'm just gonna watch that out of pure fascination, because I feel like you can't do it any other way with Barry's arch nemesis. But it wouldn't surprise me if they still tried to. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, if let's say season 8 is its last season, and let's say the Reverse Flash, which I'm very confident will be the last season's main villain, I really hope they do actually do the season 1 and 2 vibe of tone. And one thing with the graphic novel approach, one thing I was really excited for, which is why it let me down so much, and why I think a lot of us feel so let down, is because the graphic novel approach was meant to improve pacing. I really can't stand network television that is like usually 24 episodes long. It's very rare. It is doable that you can keep up a really interesting pacing that makes it a really engaging plot, even with that many episodes. I don't want to negate that, but it, more than often than not, does feel really dragged out. Filler. Oh, cool moment here, but few and far between. I did a tweet. I want to read it out. This was when I was feeling just so passionate after the Superman and Lois episode, but it's so true to what I want to bring up right now. So I said, Superman and Lois is so main plot driven. Each and every episode. This is all I asked the CW to do from here on out. Now in brackets, Stargirl is too, but that came from DC Universe. But Jesus Christ, I mean, come on. This is why people call all the other shows past their sell-by date, due to the non-engaging-esque, littered episodes of story with only good moments very few and far between the whole season. So, but this, I mean, fuck me, right? You know, it just straight up baffles me how this, you know, Superman and Lois surpasses everything else. It's always engaging. That's why shorter seasons are important and so much more engaging for fans to just be sucked into it with such quality. I know I'm rambling and ranting here, but guess what? It just baffles me. Now, don't insert budget into that, because The Flash, as shown before, or just The Flash, with the same budget it's on right now, can have just as good story as Superman and Lois. It just can. Guess what? That's called pacing and writing. I'm not trying to sound like a dick here. It's just the case. It is. So when going back to what instigated my discussion here, the graphic novel approach, I was thinking, great, condensed stories, same amount of episodes. I know technically we don't this season, but you get my point for argument's sake. It's, you know, 2 villains technically for the season. That makes me feel like hope. Okay, one villain dragged out that long would be a bit slower, like the Thinker, for example. But now, with Bloodwork, that was a good example of what Eric Wallace wanted to set out to do. But now, no, the graphic novels aren't achieving pacing. It's if anything, emphasized the worst kind of pacing, despite having 2 unique stories or 2 big bads a season. How do you do that when you're meant to be introducing this to make it a better paced thing? Do you know what I mean? Like, what? So, it's not budget. It isn't. Superman and Lois, yeah, sure. All that does is make you have a little bit of cleaner effects, but you can write Look, end of the day, The Flash needs to fix his goddamn pacing. It is so boring sometimes to wait for those moments, like next week's episode, to seal, oh, another Mindscape thing. If you die in a Mindscape, you die in real... Oh, God. I'm not engaged in this. You guys get what I mean. Watch Superman and Lois, come back and tell me, compare the pacing of the episodes. So I think that's it. Look, I'm sorry, Carlos. I'm sad that you're gone, but I'm a bit apathetic to it now. And I hate to psychoanalyze myself like that, but it's true. So, you know, here we are, guys. Maybe Flash videos will be on Thursdays now if I can't get it up. It's going to be more of a bonus video now until the show takes itself a lot more seriously, which is when I will take it a lot more seriously. Other than that, I want to concentrate on other content. This isn't me scrambling videos like Batwoman. I'm still covering The Flash. I am. I really am, and I will. But it's no longer a priority of mine. And yeah, I feel like this episode personified the goddamn shite out of what all of us who have been critical have been saying. But what are your thoughts? Ladies and gentlemen, let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear them. Like the video if you got this far, especially if you got this far. And if you got this far in the video as well, prove it by putting whatever comment you're going to put down in the comment sections below. Hashtag The Flash has currently crashed. And yeah, that's everything, guys. Follow me on Twitter. Links, as always, are on the top pinned comment. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. And I'll see you speedsters next week in the next Flash review. Goodbye.